but make sure to unmute yourself. There you go.
Welcome, everyone. I'm the Reverend Lynda Sutherland, and I serve First Parish UU Church in Northborough, Massachusetts.
And I'm the Reverend Jo Von Roo, who serves our congregation, May Memorial Unitarian Universalist Society in Syracuse, New York.
All are welcome here in our joint worship who come in peace, no matter who you are or whom you love. At the end of our service, we will get together in some breakout rooms to discuss the topic that we'll be talking about today as joint congregations, and then we will break into our own coffee hour groups. First Parish will stay right here, and May Memorial will move to the link that will be put in the chat bar. This has been such a wonderful journey together through the month of October, feeling our way toward active hope through allowing ourselves to be beguiled by beauty in the many ways in which we find it. And so right now I invite you to take a deep breath and step across the threshold from the everyday into that worshipful space where we can dive into our souls and the world around us to find that which brings us peace and guides us toward active hope.
Our series ends with a reaffirmation of our call to contemplative action in the world. The awareness of one another's beauty is the seedling for the birth of compassion and justice. A contemplative life can empty us and ready us to become instruments of the good. Let us affirm our plans to continue practicing a way of beauty that makes life rich, courageous, generous, and joyful, as active agents of the divine beauty in the world.
For the beauty of the earth, for the glory of the skies, for the love which from our birth
Divine goodness, spirit of life, pause us for this moment. Bear us up in this time, hold us for eternity. We offer our lives in service to our beloved community. We dedicate ourselves to increasing beauty in this world. We commit to compassion and action, especially when it is hard. Blessed be, Shalom, and Amen.
Please join me in the chalice lighting words. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. With that gratitude in our hearts, let us sing together, We Gather Together.
Deborah?
Okay. Hi, I'm Deborah Zagajewski, and I serve as the coordinator of religious education at First Parish in Northborough. And it's been such a joy for me to be with everyone throughout these last few weeks. So I have a story to share, actually a time to share. It's not a story. I hope that you have all enjoyed our I Spy search for beauty for the last few weeks. We can always take a moment and see and appreciate the beauty that is all around us and inside us as well. That is the amazing good news of being alive. We can see, hear, taste, touch, and experience beauty in so very many ways. It kind of makes me feel like doing a little happy dance. How about you? Like jump up and down with joy, dance with joy. It may not always be so easy to find beauty in our lives, especially when things are sometimes sad or hard, but beauty is always there to be found. So the one last thing that we're going to do together is look for something to help us, you and me and all of us, to be the messengers of good news. So are you ready to help me? You all ready? Okay, great. Wouldn't it be fun to be a person who helps people to see beauty and make other people want to do a happy dance for joy? I think it would. So let's give it a try together right now. We're going to shout. So don't worry, we're on Zoom. I don't think you'll hurt anybody's ears. Put your hands up to your mouth and say, the good news is coming. Let's do it together. The good news is coming. That was good, but we're going to try a little bit louder so everyone can hear, the good news is coming. Did everybody hear that? That was great. I'll bet that even some neighbors might have been able to hear that. And actually, that's really the point. Good news and beauty can be as simple as a smile or saying hello or taking care of something that someone else needs. And we can all do that. When we love the beauty of the earth, we want to make everyone's life more beautiful. And that is the secret. It's so simple. That is the good news that we share. So thank you all for helping me spread the good news this morning. I have a repeat after me prayer. Spirit of life.
Spirit of life.
Spirit of beauty.
Spirit of beauty.
Spirit of happy.
Spirit of happy.
Help us help others.
Help us help others.
By offering pieces of joy, happiness, and beauty.
By offering pieces of joy, happiness, and beauty.
Everywhere we go.
Everywhere we go.
Blessed be. Amen.
Blessed be and amen. Beauty occurs in many ways through our rituals. During this series, we have been exploring the practice of Divina, which is to immerse oneself in an experience. We have been exploring several types of Divina practices to engage our senses this month, and engaging our spirits and minds as well. Divina is of Latin and Italian origin, meaning divine or heavenly. It is also a variant of divina, the Hebrew word, meaning loved one. In this series, we will encounter the divine loved one through Lectio Divina, with a reading through Sermo Divina, the Latin origin of the word sermon, and through Visio Divina, images, music, and poetry. All of these are portals into a sensate experience of the holy. Some forms will pique your cognitive mind, but you can also allow some to simply wash over you, infusing your psyche and soul with a mysterious sense of wonder.
And now, in true Lectio Divina style, we will share a poem on the screen and ask you to read it silently to yourselves or aloud at home if you have small children. Really consider the words, and then I will read it aloud. Allow the words to wash over your heart. Creating fire. Is the fire going out? Not in your belly, for you are still alive, but in your soul. That place where dreams fuel commitment, where longings shape action, where meaning flames purpose, where passion ignites and rekindles your life fire. If your soul smolders, dream on till you flame like a chalice of hope.
Right before everything in the United States shut down due to COVID in March, my husband and I and some family and friends all traveled together to Iceland. Neither my husband nor I had ever traveled outside of the United States before. We settled on Iceland in March because I've always been inspired by the beauty and awe of the Northern Lights, and what a better place to see them than in Iceland. We planned this several years in advance so that we could save the money to make this trip possible, which made it really special. Iceland does not normally have harsh winters. In fact, they don't typically get much snow at all on the eastern and southern shores where we visited. This year, however, before our arrival and during our stay, they had unprecedented winter weather on the island. I could not even believe how beautiful it was in Iceland, even though it was also quite dangerous driving through blizzards on several days. Like Yellowstone National Park here in the United States, Iceland is basically one live volcano. Well, it's many live volcanoes. The thermal activity is everywhere on the island, and you can smell the sulfur just driving around. One of the beautiful and incredible places we visited was the Hot Spring Thermal River. The river started at the top of a mountain and ran several miles down to the bottom. The hike to the top was about 3 miles, but the weather was so sporadic that day that Isaac and I made it about 3/4 of the way, but had to turn around because there was a blizzard surrounding us, making it hard to see. I'm going to actually show you a couple of pictures just to give you an idea. So this is the base of the hot river. And then this is hiking up the mountain where the hot river was. And you can see that it may have been hard for us to find our way through. I cannot even describe the beauty of this place. Along our hike, we stopped many times just to look around at the wonder that filled our eyes and to look each other and laugh and say, "Can you believe we're hiking on a mountain in Iceland?" There were many times on that trip that we were, in fact, beguiled by beauty. Beauty that we were seeing with new eyes, beauty that we allowed to wash over us, to give us strength for the days to come. Little did we know how much we would need that strength in the days, weeks, and months of COVID lockdown. When has there been a time that you have been beguiled by beauty? When you've been surrounded by nature? I'm going to give you just a few moments to share in the chat bar some of the special places where you experience beauty. The wall behind me is our famous butterfly. It comes from the cupola on top of our sanctuary. Fjords in Norway, I've always wanted to see those. Driving near our home with the fall foliage, the Swiss Alps, the Colorado Rockies are incredible. Out of every window I see, Glacier National Park, Italy, Paradise Island, wow, you guys have been to some incredible places internationally and in your own homes and backyards. I love knowing that you have places where you are surrounded by beauty. This nature bathing, as it is called in some circles, is actually a form of therapy. Taking time in nature can actually medically help restore your body. It lowers your heart rate and gives you a dose of fresh and organic oxygen, and it simply puts us at ease. This week brings us to the end of our worship series, Beguiled by Beauty. We began our series thinking about gratitude, moving into lament, then to a place of wonder, and now we take a moment to gather up all that we have learned and witnessed and lived in this past month to see our beautiful world with new eyes. To remember how important it is to take a moment to rest in the beauty of our world and our community, even when there are terrifying things happening all around us. In her book, Active Hope, Joanna Macy writes, many of us may remember special moments when we have felt unusually connected to the world around us. Perhaps we were enthralled by a glimpse of great beauty, or we witnessed an event so remarkable that it took our breath away. I have been a recipient of an unmistakable grace, wrote Sam Keen, describing the time he spent out in the woods watching two bobcats sitting on a log singing at night. These cherished moments, which some would describe as spiritual experiences, nurture us. They nourish us. They pull us out of preoccupation with our personal details and into larger, more mysterious and magical experiences of being alive. So let's take a moment to be silent together. When I asked you to share your special place, I want you to breathe deeply for a moment, to remember what it is like to be in that place. Take yourself there, only for a moment. When you bring that place into your mind, what is your body's response? Do you feel your muscles relax? Do you feel a smile blooming on your face? Do you take a deep breath? Is there a smell or feeling that triggered deep inside of you? This is exactly how I feel when I allow my mind and heart to wander back to these special places. I automatically take a deep breath, and with my exhalation, I can feel my body and tense muscles relax. In Dr. Wendy Farley's book, Beguiled by Beauty, she writes about these intentional moments as a contemplative way of life. She says, a contemplative way of life concerns what we think and do, but it is more fundamentally how we are disposed toward reality. She argues that humans are created with a capacity to recognize the profound beauty of all creation. This is our essential nature, our inheritance and destiny. But the great paradox of human life is how alienated we are from this nature and how difficult it is to recover living intimacy with the beauty of the earth. It is difficult, she says, to love creation with abandoned joy and searing compassion. One of the co-vantages we have experienced these past 8 months is that many people like me and some of you who have had the privilege to do so have slowed down because the world around us simply came to a halt. Before COVID, I was getting overwhelmed, constantly driving from home to work, to appointments, to meetings, to groceries. COVID has taught us that we don't and shouldn't go to the grocery store every day, like I generally do. It helped me at least to see how much time I was spending in the car and how little time I spent in living intimacy with the beauty of the earth and its creatures. One of the other major lessons of COVID-19, perhaps most importantly, it has taught us how to expand our hearts even further. This lockdown period has opened our eyes wider to the disparities of the world, our country, and our own communities. We saw very quickly in our communities how the privilege that most of us carry affected our way of life and the lives of others who had to keep working, risking their help in the service industry so that we could have groceries. We saw how stretched our teachers became, having to figure out this new way of teaching overnight, how thin the patience was for our parents of school-age children who are not only working full-time jobs, but they are also working full-time teachers to their children at home. And one of our co-vantages is also seeing the hope that surrounds us in this time. Many of you responded to this changing need and way of life by volunteering immediately to help in the food banks and soup kitchens to meet the rising demand. Many of you gave funds to various organizations, including money to your churches to help others in need. So I ask you again to take a moment to name in the chat bar the ways in which your life has shifted during COVID, whether it means you slowed down, maybe you sped up, maybe you volunteered more, maybe you were able to support organizations financially. Take a moment and share with us those ways that your life shifted during COVID. Life slowed down. Some people read more time at home, more time to make music, more time to be creative. I also found that. Feasted on our backyard, more contact with our children through lots of Zooming. I too have experienced more contact with my friends by Zooming more often. More peace, more nature, more healing. What wonderful ways that we have come through this. Also recognizing that not everybody came through COVID in wonderful ways. And this is the other part of Dr. Farley's message, right? When we realize something other than ourselves is really real, that it suffers like we do and sings out its name like we do, compassion and justice naturally arise. Let me repeat that. When we realize something other than ourselves is really real, that it suffers like we do and sings out its name like we do, compassion and justice naturally arise. This awareness of one another's beauty in its erotic, purposeless joy is the seedling for the birth of compassion and justice. My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentation. I feel the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. As one of the mystical fathers of the civil rights movement, Howard Thurman, put it, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who come alive. Courageous beauty, Farley writes, will awaken us to the world's needs, but our unique vitality will guide us to the work best fitting for us. Some of us are suited to writing letters from home and calling our lawmakers. Some of us are suited for teaching our children how to be just, equitable, and compassionate. And some of us are suited for marching in the streets. But the point that Howard Thurman makes is that it does not matter. Just go and do what makes you come alive. The anthem we chose for today is the hymn, How Can I Keep From Singing, which was recorded at the end of May by the New York City Virtual Choir and Orchestra. This piece of music reminds us that we must go and do what makes us come alive, singing out our names, as Farley would suggest. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? So keep singing in whatever way you know how. Keep singing your song of love to the earth and to those who surround you, for it is our realization and appreciation of the beauty around us that allows our compassion and sense for justice for the world to arise. I lift my eyes, the cloud grows thin, I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths, since I first learned to love it. When are you going to take the time in this tumultuous world to allow yourself to become beguiled by beauty? Because the reality is that we must fill our own cups so that we can serve from our saucer. The point of life, my loves, is not to give and give and give until you fall over. The point of life is to give that which you are able to give and save some for yourself, for you cannot give. It is impossible to give if your own spiritual well has run dry. Blessed be, shalom, and amen.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the far off hymn that hails a new creation.
No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing?
And now, as we have done for most of the weeks of this series, you're invited in our time of meditation and prayer to let your gaze wander and perhaps land on something that has literally caught your eye before. I hope that beyond this series, you will find yourself continuing those contemplative practices that caught your attention, that brought you a deeper love of life. And always remember that looking around, whether we do that with our eyes or other senses, is how we notice the beauty in the world and in the people we encounter, but also how we notice the suffering and are called to intercede in prayer and in action for the healing of all. While our musical clip is playing, I invite you to use the chat bar to share with us the beauty that you see around you right now. What is bringing you joy today?
When you're tired and feel you can't get through, uncertainty comes over you, just look around. When your problems seem too much to bear, unsure if there's someone who cares, just look around. Whether stranger, neighbor, family, or friend, on each other in tough times we can depend. Look around, kindness, love is ours to share. We can see it everywhere. Though it might seem like forever, look around. Even in the darkest night, things are gonna be alright. We'll get through this together. Just look around.
As we take a moment to settle into ourselves with our virtual gathered community, let us now use the chat bar to lift up the names of those we love, who may need to receive our collective spirit of love and witness on this day and in this moment. And if you are in need of this collective support, enter your own name as well. And will you join with me in the spirit of prayer or meditation? Spirit of life, universal love, divine presence of all that is holy and beautiful. Our hearts are heavy with so many losses. Loss of health and too often of life. Loss of democratic norms and processes, loss of rights, loss of civility, loss of kindness and caring, loss of the feeling of safety and security, loss of any sure sense of what the future may bring. Our hearts are heavy with the specter of more losses to come. Our hearts are also heavy with our personal sorrows, the struggles we're dealing with, the sorrows of those we love, the uncertainty of our personal finances, the toll this time is taking on our mental health. May those gathered here with heavy hearts take a moment to pause, to breathe, to look around at those on the screen, to remind yourself that you, my beloved, are never alone. And our hearts are also aware of the beauty and joy that surround us, even in the midst of loss and sorrow, being part of a beloved community, laughing with friends and family, music and art and cat videos, the still colorful leaves of autumn, a new job or still having a job or an income, time to think and read and walk and sit still, birthdays and anniversaries, new discoveries. May those gathered here with joyful hearts take a moment to pause, to breathe, to look around at all those on the screen, to remind yourself that you, my beloved, are never alone. We gather together, sharing this sacred holy time in the midst of uncertainty and divisiveness, singing, praying, thinking, and imagining to remind ourselves about that which is good and beautiful in our world. Spirit of life, please encourage us every single day to take a moment to look around, to drink in the beauty of the people and the world around us, reminding us that there is always a way forward, if only one step at a time, that there is always an outstretched hand, that there is always a heart loving us, supporting us, and cheering us on. Won't you be silent with me for 7 breaths?
Sometimes it can be hard to see. Life is full of possibilities, so look around. Each new day is such a gift. Embrace it and the life you live, and look around. Outstretched arms and many helping hands. Don't give up on all your dreams and all your plans. Look around. Kindness, love is ours to share. We can see it everywhere. Though it might seem like forever, look around, for even in our darkest night, things are gonna be alright. We'll get through this together. Just look around. Look around. Just look around.
My beloveds, Each week, we ask you to give a financial offering to your church and the community organizations that we split our plates with. The money you give on Sunday mornings saves lives. In Syracuse, it is helping to support those imprisoned in Onondaga County, a prison like all of them that unjustly imprisons Black men at disproportionate rates. In Northborough, half of your plate offering is going towards the Pastoral Care Fund, which puts resources in the hands of those that need them. The funds may pay for groceries, gas, life-saving medication, rent, the list goes on. My friends, the money you donate today is life-saving in many ways. With outstretched arms and many helping hands, we will continue to move through this together. Ways to give financially to each of our congregations are listed in the chat box. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
Good news is coming. Deborah talked this morning about how the bringing of good news is a welcome sight and a cause for joy. To be part of the restoration of love and peace and hope is our call to unveil more beauty in the world. We've been making connections throughout this time of contemplating the theology of beauty and divine goodness between the well-being of our souls and the well-being of the whole earth and all beings. Above earth's lamentation, in this great turning, we hail a new creation. Love prevails, truth lives on, beauty holds us. This is our good news. Even now, no matter what, how can we keep from singing? This is the good news we share. And so in these upcoming weeks, we encourage you to share this good news and to look back on the rituals offered during this series and find something that will feed your spirit in a gentle and loving way so that you can continue the fight for justice, equity, and compassion in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Keep singing, dear friends.
The world is so varied and beautiful. Seek wisdom wherever it is to be found, and may the goodness of life, the companionship of beloved community, and the insight of the Spirit infuse your life now and always. Blessed be. Shalom and Amen. Don't you love the organ on Sunday mornings? A huge thank you to everybody who helped make this series possible. Reverend Lynda's tech team, Deborah and Pam and Olga, Chris and Dennis, and everybody who helped on her end. Here, Glenn and Terry and Stacy for all making this very possible.